Okay, so we got our in-depth look at Legends EA this Pokemon Day, and man was this worth rushing out a video during my planning period for. Let's get started. I can't say I'm too impressed with the art direction. I know it's an evolution of the Scarlet and Violet style, but the art direction they went with for Legends Arceus, I kinda expected the ones for Legends EA to be a bit more impressive. But then again, this takes place in the modern day, not during the 19th century houseman renovation of Paris like many of us, including myself, speculated. But the protags do look interesting. We'll later learn this is a sequel to XY, but did Professor Sycamore have a child then? Because that's what the male protagonist looks like to me. Also, I joke that their fashion sense is very much late Gen Z, early Gen Alpha. Yeah, that's a lie. This is pretty much Gen Z and Gen Alpha in a nutshell. We also get our starters. Obviously, Cyndaquil's not here because we already used that one for Legends Arceus. I seriously question why Chikorita and Totodile are present, mainly because I do prefer Legends games to give representation from multiple generations. Then again, since Mega Evolution is returning, we might have an issue with that. That does limit the pool of candidates. Kanto and Hoenn starters already have Mega, so giving them regional variants would be a bit off. Kalos starters, a bit odd to give them regional variant final evolutions. I get that things can evolve in an urban environment because the urban environment is a different type of jungle, but Kalos starters seem a bit too obvious. The Paldea starters seem too recent, and we really only have the Johto starters, which are incomplete, the Sinnoh starters, part of the Unova starters, part of the Alola starters, and the Galar starters. Which, why would you use the Galar starters, a British-based region, in a game inspired by France? And if this is indeed a sequel to X and Y, AZ has lost weight and is now running an inn with his Floette. Good for him. For the first time in this series, we can parkour across buildings. Totally going to use this for that eventual Pokemon action RPG we're going to get. Yes, I'm huffing the copium now, but I do feel like they are all prepping to make some kind of action RPG in the future that is probably in the style of an actual JRPG. Hey, Legends Arceus added the action RPG elements to this game, then I'm sure Legends EA is only going to expand upon that and push the limits just to see what we can do. I think this is also the first mainline game where you get gendered rival characters who aren't simply just the other player character. Urbane only appears if you're a girl, and Tawny only appears if you're a guy. And I gotta say, once more, these two are the most Gen Z to Gen Alpha looking dorks I've seen. Well, I can say the same for the pro tags, but I already said that. It's just funny seeing them side by side. In terms of the battle system, I feel like it's a natural evolution of the Legends Arceus system, so instead of a strong style or an agile style, which felt more rough and ready, which makes sense because you are exploring the wilderness, you get the short range, long range, area of effect style. My concern is probably just how you could possibly cheese your way through this using the area of effect strategy, but I feel like these concerns are a bit unfounded since Legends Arceus did punish you for using strong style if you used it against Giratina to finish it off, only for it to immediately turn into the origin form and attack you there. We also meet Jet and her assistant Vinny of Quasartico Inc., the people who are probably going to be either the red herrings or the obvious corporate antagonists for their activities, redesigning Lumio City. Speaking of Lumio City, instead of guys in yellow vests blocking you from entering specific parts of the city, you have these nice holograms now. This is actually a nice upgrade. But in all seriousness, these are the wild zones where Pokemon pretty much are able to roam free and inhabit. So that was Legend ZA in a nutshell. This was interesting, mainly because, I kinda don't know where this story is going. Obviously, Quasartico is probably going to do it, and we also get this ominous message in both the extended version and the short version of the trailer, which is all about a promotional match which fizzles out. In terms of look and feel, I do believe they are doing what fans expected them to do. They are basically taking the concepts they made for a possible Z version or an XY sequel, which were on the table but never used, and just repurposed them for Legend ZA. But instead of doing the whole filtering it through a 19th century lens bit as we predicted, they are doing it pretty much as directly as possible. They seem more like that they're trying to experiment with what they wanted to do on a 3DS with modern hardware of the Switch. Zygarde's role also seems to be a bit unclear. I know Zygarde is just probably spying using all the cells. We do see the cells and even the doggo here. But, well, what can you say? It's par for the course when it comes to trailers and third versions in general. I think my strangest issue is how much time we spend around the Lumio City Prism Tower. Because architecturally, it's not as diverse as I would like it. Either they haven't completed the parts that would probably be more different from this part of Lumio City, such as, like, the catacombs, assuming those exist, or not. Because so far it just feels very homogeneous when it comes to the environment. Well, those are just my thoughts. Please consider liking, subscribing, tipping the channel on Ko-fi. This is Cyril signing off.